Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us on The Profitable Manufacturer. I'm Annette Delancey. I'm the CEO of Cast Covers, a rock and fun manufacturing business based right here in the United States. And I'm also the CEO of She Makes Products, where we help women break through revenue barriers profitably so they can grow and scale and have fun doing it. And my colleague is Jason. Jason.
Hi, I'm Jason Snyder, CEO of Main Street Financials, where we do bookkeeping, profit first work, and fractional CFO services.
Wonderful. And today's episode is your identity as a manufacturer. You're one of the cool kids now. And this is one of my favorite topics. Recently, I was telling Jason this, that I was at a conference in Florida, and it's one of the preeminent e-commerce conferences, which is it's called Seller Summit, run by Steve Chu and Tony Herbach. And a few hundred people attend every year. It gets better every year. And I was a speaker this year, and I was hosting a dinner one night, and there was people there that had the most inventive and innovative products that I had seen recently. And so we were talking about them, and they were talking about, I'm an e-commerce merchant, e-commerce. I said, whoa, wait a minute, gang, stop the whole table. And I said, actually, you are a manufacturer who happens to use e-commerce as a distribution channel. Every single one of their faces just popped, their eyes open, and they're like, oh, wow. And they would come to me later during the conference and come up to me and tell me how that one comment really shifted their perspective. So Jason and I thought it was a great topic to discuss. And so what I want to do is give you the definitions of two sources, and then Jason's going to give his very simple source of what a manufacturer is. So first of all, from Corporate Finance Institute, which is perfect for the profitable manufacturer, is what is a manufacturer? A manufacturer is a person or company that produces finished goods from raw materials by using various tools, equipment, and processes, and then sells the goods to consumers, wholesalers, distributors, retailers, or to other manufacturers for the production of more complex goods. And manufacturer definition and meaning in Merriam-Webster says the meaning of manufacturer is one that manufactures. That's it, especially the employment of workers in manufacturing. So, Jason, what's your simple version?
My simple version is any person or organization that adds value to a physical product.
I think that's fabulous. And the one thing that I tell, for example, in many of my conversations and or when I give seminars or asked to speak, which I was one of the speakers I think I mentioned, was the first thing I start out with, you are cool. And this is to everybody in the room and anybody who's listening, you are cool. And that's because you've made something out of nothing, and that makes you a creator. So that makes you cool. And you are in the cool club now. And manufacturing is actually taking quite a positive spin on it lately as well. Jason, do you want to add something here before I jump into some of my stories?
No, I think it's good to find it because it helps to understand how you operate and run your business and things.
Yes, I agree. So because if you start looking at e-commerce retail, you're losing the focus of COGS, which is so important in becoming a profitable manufacturer. If you start thinking that you're a manufacturer and then you're using different distribution channels, different e-commerce platforms, it could be different ways of selling, could be B2B, could be D2C. For example, in my manufacturing company, and I've always said I'm a manufacturer, is Cast Covers. And though I use e-commerce extensively for my D2C, I'm pretty much offline when it comes to B2B. And so it's very important that I recognize that I'm a manufacturer and that I have to look at my sewing contractors. And then prior to that, I had a shop and how I priced everything and costed everything. And the same thing applies. And doesn't matter where you manufacture the product, whether it's in your own shop, your own garage, your basement, someplace across town, or if you have somebody do it overseas for you. If you have somebody putting something together from raw goods, in other words, if you take something from nothing and make something, you take raw goods and make something, that makes you a manufacturer. And that's pretty cool. And one of the reasons it's really cool is not only determining the way you structure your business, as Jason mentioned, but also in how you can get some special financing. Manufacturers get special financings at time, depending on if you're building a building or what your product line is. there's an emphasis in the government right now in manufacturing in the United States. So if you're in electronics or actually building buildings, you could easily get some tax credits and subsidies. So I'd check with your CPA or bookkeeper on that. The other thing that's really interesting is I have read a number of sources that indicate that if you want to go sell your business or you want to get valuation for your business, you should state that you're a manufacturer, that you use e-commerce as a distribution model, not that you are an e-commerce merchant, because manufacturing can sometimes bring in a higher multiple. And that's what I think is very exciting, because there's something about the creation of jobs and about the production of goods, that type of thing. So, and it takes a special person to be a manufacturer, and it takes keen insight, as well as being aware of trends of the future and that type of thing. So those are a couple of my things. Jason?
Yeah, and to your point of differing between e-commerce and manufacturing, this is something I've tried to point out to our clients who are in e-commerce. Your product acquisition, whether it's through contract manufacturing on your own premises and with your own assets, or just buying a product and tweaking a little bit to sell, all of them are involved in some type of product creation at some level. I don't think we have any in our roster that are just pure resellers. I think most of that business model has gone away by now. And that's important because your cash planning cycles are totally different when you are a manufacturer compared to a retailer. The access to credit and other things, like you said, matters, especially if you're sourcing from the US. You have a lot more options available to you. Typically, especially if you're adding value and you have your own physical plant and assets, there's a lot more credit available to those situations. One is where your lender is basing their credit decision and basically like a line of credit based on all your raw materials, work in progress, and finished inventory, and other things. Though that's a common setup for lines of credit for manufacturers and things. But if you're an e-commerce retailer, typically it's based on your revenue or some type of a merchant advance type of thing, which is a lot different underwriting and also interest rates.
Yes, I agree. In fact, Jason and I had a discussion in one of our past podcasts where we talked about don't get the cash advance loans. They are not good for your business. And I attributed that because I did one once, and I think it was 18 months, and it was the longest 18 months of my life, I think. And it was, and I'll never, ever touch them again. It was through PayPal. And it's never as good as a deal as it looks, by the way. We can go deep into that into another podcast. But being a manufacturer is cool. And I want you to make sure you start shifting your gears, and the books that you read and the sites that you go visit, start looking at the manufacturing. There's the American Manufacturing Association. In October, I know California has it's National Manufacturing Month in California. And so there's a lot of tours given and that type of thing for manufacturers. The National Manufacturing Month, I think, actually correlates in November. I should check this. But California seems to be really big in proclaiming National Manufacturing Month in the state of California, which is kind of funny because California is kind of anti-business, but that they are trying really hard to help that along. In other words, help along the manufacturing industry. And there are companies that are now proudly saying that they're made in the USA. I say I'm made in the USA. And I do know I get anywhere from a 10 to a 15% lift. And the way I know that, and what I'm talking about is sales, top line revenue. And the way I know that is because people write to us and tell us, I bought you because of you're made in the USA. I also look at reviews, they're made in the USA. And so I can't directly correlate it, but I know that there is a lift of 10 to 15% as a result. And so that's another benefit of identifying as a manufacturer and touting it on your product, made in the USA. You could also say that you're assembled in the USA. You can also say designed in the USA. That's another topic that Jason and I can talk about the difference, the actual specifics of made in the USA. So if you have a product that no matter where it's sourced and it comes together and over 50% is assembled, built, whatever, in the United States, that's made in the USA. And we'll do a topic on that later and give you the very definitive on that. So I want you to be proud that you are a manufacturer, and particularly one in the United States. I'm very proud that I'm a manufacturer. I love it that I had a shop. I'm thinking about opening a shop again because I miss it so much. I now have a number of contractors, and mine is a cut and sew contractor business. And that would be a nice way to round it out, because I started with a shop and I pivoted 6 years ago. In fact, it was 6 years ago yesterday, and thinking about I'm bringing my shop back again. So hopefully that was a helpful conversation. Jason, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think it's good to understand what you're doing in business, and like you said, identifying as to it, because it has practical business implications, just not beyond just your marketing or in other parts of your business as well.
I agree. So hopefully add your comments below. Check us out at theprofitablemanufacturer.com, and we're here for you to answer any questions. And in the meantime, be profitable. Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you.